they couldn't have been any more impressive in the first two quarters?
First half was very good and set up the game. So I know that we're outscored in the second half, but I thought the boys' ability to hit the scoreboard, work hard to put pressure on both scoreboard and on the ground was terrific, and really it did set up the win.
What's the early diagnosis on that ball?
Just cramp. And I'm not trying to kid you here. I'm not trying to make it up. He come off with a cramp. First thing I asked the medical staff was about that, and they said it was cramp. Very confident that he'll play. He is as well, and there was no point whatsoever in putting him back on.
What about Didak's shoulder as well? He seemed to have it wrenched in that midway through the fourth quarter and landed awkwardly.
Yeah, well, there's no other injuries. I haven't had a report, but they all seem to be okay.
Davis isn't okay. What about?
No, he'll be available next week. Yep.
How bad was he? It was just a precaution.
No, well, again, you pick fit players. He was just a bit sore, and under the circumstances, it just wasn't worth it.
So you're going with the full bill of health next week then?
I'd say he'll be right. He was close enough to be disappointed that he, as he said, team first, and so it was a courageous decision, and one that he is now in line for next week by having that rest.
Is that sort of the ideal preliminary final win? Not only obviously the margin, but just the fact that sort of half time the result was fairly clear. You could pace yourselves a bit through the second half.
Well, they certainly did that, the boys. There's no, that's not the easiest thing in the coach's box, but
just in terms of you think less energy was expended in the second half than perhaps we all thought might have been.
I'm not. Look, you don't play enough grand finals to sort of have the luxury of working out why, but I half suspect that the week's break was fantastic for us. It gave us a massive boost in confidence to know that our bodies were right. That's why with Leon out, a fresh player comes in, he was fit, and we could really just go for it. Do the things that we needed to do, work hard with the systems, work to the system, work for each other. I think at half-time, we might have had 11 goal kickers, which is terrific. And the second half probably gets you a bit because you've used up an enormous amount, I think, of energies that are both physical and psychological. And as a consequence, the scoreboard looks healthy enough, and there was just that little tendency to don't take anything away from Geelong. They just kept on coming, but there is a intangible that you cannot say as a coach that no matter what pressure you put on players at half time to maintain that, it's mentally it's not going to happen. And was I surprised? No, but you still got to play the game. But we'd won the game by the pressure and the systems that we created, and that was a full 4 quarters. We dropped off at certain times, but we still managed to still keep most of it in place. I don't know what they kicked in the last quarter, but yeah, it was 8 shots.
You spoke about your best. You spoke about yesterday. I think it was your best. You felt was good enough to beat Geelong.
No, I said misquote. I said our best is good enough to beat anyone.
So you believe, particularly after watching that it is the best in the competition?
Oh, I'm not comparing it to anyone. I'm just saying that we believe that our best. We finished top of the ladder with a very difficult draw. We have got a fairly healthy list. We've got a game structure that the players are very comfortable with. They run it, they've embraced it, and they own it. And when you've got that combination, then you come away with confidence that you are playing football that's good enough to finish on top of the ladder, therefore good enough to beat every side. And we'll go in next week, regardless of who we play, believing we can win it. Who's going to a grand final don't think you can win it.
Yeah. Could you have said that 6 months ago?
No, I think there's a change. Well, the game, all the structures and so forth were in place. Well, probably an ongoing thing for 3 or 4 years, quite frankly. And we've just been able to get the right personnel to be able to play it. And there was a belief factor perhaps missing. And as the year went on, I think the player group believed that they were very comfortable. It's not a very comfortable game plan, let me tell you. It's demanding game plan, but they were more and more comfortable with it, and they believed that was the system that was going to get us any sort of glory. And we're still 1 week short of what we want to do, but at least we're in it.
Nick, being Collingwood, it's probably going to be bigger than Ben-Hur. How do you go about keeping the guys in check during the week?
He was fairly big, I suppose, Ben. But, well, what can you do? It's grand final.
Do you do anything differently?
We won't be doing too much differently, believe me.
Michael, in terms of, as you would say, you know, having the boxes and ticking them off for not so much a grand final but winning a premiership, where are you at?
Well, I think we're giving away 3, certainly close to 4, maybe just under 4 years per player on average. And there comes in the past, working for SEN, for instance, you know, one of the first questions is who's going to win the game. And experience plays such a massive role in winning games of football. But I believe that there comes a tip-off point that no longer is that 4 years the reason why you will win or you can't beat them, because it's more the case that with the squad it gets to a certain level of experience. It carries a couple of young kids who have got the abilities to play the way you want them to play. It's got a couple of older players who are very, very hungry, and it's got a lot of players in between who have got belief, and so that group, when it comes together like that, you rate yourself equal chance as anyone. And it's been, as I say, it's been some time coming. Perhaps the addition of Ball and Jolly may have been the catalyst to get us the next stage. But it's also the maturity of younger players and the availability of players. So there's a whole combination of things why I think we've been able to get where we've got.
You've beaten your potential opponents 3 times out of 4, twice each, and probably could have won the one you didn't. How relevant will that be in terms of the preparation, or do you think, you know, like St Kilda changed much since you played them in round 16?
It's horses for courses. I said to the guys before the game, it's horses for courses. We are picking players on their abilities to in history, their current form, their fitness, and their confidence. So that side won't necessarily run down the race next week, and that's just a fact that in this system the players are prepared. They'll 1, 2, maybe we'll be very disappointed, but what it'll do, it's very much a team mentality, and that's what you've got to have. I don't know if that answers the question, but no, it hasn't. Okay, what's the question again?
You've wrestled in a number of games with the accuracy before goal. You had, I think, 11-3 at one point, 22 inside 50s, 7 goals, something in the first quarter. What was the difference for that tonight and maintaining it for next week?
I couldn't really answer that. I've got no hope in the world of answering that. I'd have to go back and have a look at every goal kicked and see where they got from, and were we closer, were we further out? I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to say that it's going to happen at some stage. The boys are going to, worst kicker for the night, 1-3 is Didak. You'd say that, you'd suggest that he's probably our best kick. So these things happen. But I'll take this week as opposed to any other week.
Presti's chances of coming back in?
Yeah, he's one of the ones I'm talking about.
But would you be reluctant to knock anyone out of the side tonight?
Well, I just sort of answered that.
Can I just ask you one too about the Brownlow? Swan's obviously the hot favourite. What have you made of his year and his chances on the
Oh,
road?
he's been very good. I'm not going to be involved in whether players do win, don't win, or how they get voted. It's an umpire's award. It should always stay an umpire's award. They see things differently on the ground. There hasn't been a bad, not in my book anyway, hasn't been a bad Brownlow medalist ever won one. So there's probably a lot of players that should win one that haven't won one. So that's just the way it is. Of course, we at Collingwood all hope that Swanee's numbers are higher than anyone else's and wins it. But he's had a terrific year. But there's been other players in the club that have played some important game for us as well.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.